to the Mission Dorothy podcast with your hostess, Tamikis Williams. Hello, and thank you so much for joining me here on Mission Dorothy, the podcast. Today, we are finishing up our series related to the 8 dimensions of wellness. And today, we will be covering financial wellness. I'm getting tongue tied here. So, already we have discussed the 7 dimensions of wellness, which were physical, emotional, social, intellectual, environmental, spiritual, and vocational. And so today we will be discussing your finances, right? And so let's take a look at the definition for financial wellness. It says financial wellness is defined as satisfaction with current and future financial situations. So, are you happy with your current finances as well as your future planning you have done when it comes to retirement and those types of things, right? So, are you satisfied with your financial wellness at this time? This definitely deserves your attention, right? Because it's nothing more undesirable than to work a job that you can't stand and they are not paying you well. Okay? That is not a good combination. So, let's dive into financial wellness. So, our first goal, we have 6 goals here. Our first goal when it comes to financial wellness is learning how to gain control of your finances so they work for you. Now, financial literacy is really important because it's important for us to really understand money and how it works, right? And we're not just talking about like cash money, we're talking about cash, credit. Some people still utilize checks, savings, 401ks, retirement, Social Security. Like we're thinking about all the things, right? Taxes. Lord, don't get me to talking about that. But learning how to gain control of your finances so they work for you. So when we think about that, what comes to mind for you? What comes to mind for me is your money working well for you? Now, one thing I can definitely say is that I've always lived below my means, right? I don't live at my means. I've always lived below my means. This is something my mom taught me. My mother did a really good job with teaching me how to, pay my bills and be responsible with my money. I do wish that she was a little bit more, had a little bit more education when it came to like, investing and those types of things. But my mother definitely taught me how to be responsible with my money, right? And, I'm currently looking into investing and those types of things as far as stock and such. But I'm a little late in the game when it comes to that. And so, if you are young, like really think about your retirement, right? And what age you would like to retire because it is a sacrifice, right? So if you think about it, let's say if you're like, I don't know, 22, 23, somewhere in there. And think about if you put away $100 a month until age, maybe 62, 65, like that'll be a good amount of money. You know what I'm saying? So really sit with yourself and think about that because most of the time we are not thinking about our retirement. We're living for the now. You know what I'm saying? And you can live now, but still put some money up for retirement. Okay. So is your money working for you? So in the last episode, we talked about vocational wellness, right? And we talked about your job and, you know, assessing your job, right? And assessing your employment to see how happy you are with your current employment if you wanted to change, as well as this is something you also need to think about. Are you getting paid enough? Is your job or your income successfully meeting the ends, right? Like, is the ends meeting? You know what I'm saying? Because it is important for us to be clear so that we can make sure that we are living financially responsible. You know what I'm saying? Sorry about that. I got a little distracted there. But so, what we want to focus on is, are we happy with the money that we're making at this time? Or are there some changes that we need to make when it comes to either our job, comma, our career, the career choice. Yes, I'm right. I'm right. The career choice, right? So let me be a little bit more detailed. Are we thinking about our job, and is our job paying us enough, or do we need to ask for a raise? When we think about our career, is the career we are in or the career we have chosen providing the lifestyle that we would like to have for ourselves reasonably, right? Now, granted, we all want more, but I think you get what I'm saying, right? So we want to make sure that we are being good stewards of the finances that we currently have, right? Because God multiplies once we show him that we are satisfied and happy and appreciative for what he is currently giving us, right? So, are we happy with our current finances? The check that we get every 2 weeks or once a month or every week, are we happy with what it does for us in our life? Is it working for us, right? Is it paying the bills? Or are you having to rob Peter to pay Paul? Right? Oh my gosh, y'all. It's so funny how some of these sayings just continue on generation after generation. But are you robbing Peter to pay Paul? Are you always barely making it? Or are you making it and you have enough money to put away for savings, for vacation, for you might want to buy you something, get your children something. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have extra once you pay your bills, right? Like, really sit with yourself and really think about that. If you are on autopilot and you get paid, you pay those bills, and you just been doing the same thing for years, I want you to take some time out to sit down with yourself. Go on, I think it's called budget.com. I think you can download some budget forms and really sit down with yourself. And this is for everybody, really, everybody. Just take some time out to sit down with yourself and really take a good look at your money. Okay? So that you can see what is coming in and what is going out. Right? Do you need to be supplemented? Are you able to put away extra? Can you add a little bit more to the amount you put away in your savings, right? Like, really take stock of your current finances so that you can really think about if you need to make some changes. Okay? So, again, goal number 1 is learning how to gain control of your finances so they work for you. You want your money to work for you, right? You want your money to be able to to pay your bills. You want your money to be able to provide some of your wants and not just your needs, right? You want your money to really work for you, right? You want to feel that, you know, you've worked for this money and this money is doing well by you. You know what I'm saying? So really sit and think about that. Goal number 2 is understanding. Dog, it took me a long time. Okay, anyways. Goal number 2, understanding how to manage a budget, credit cards, checking and savings accounts, investments, retirement funds, etc. All right. So first, let's look at manage a budget. So I just talked about that, right? So you want to get you a budget sheet. They are all over the internet, downloadable for free, and sit down and go through your finances, create a budget for yourself, right? That is the first step you need to make so that you can see what is going out and what is coming in, right? My mom taught me, when you get paid, pay your bills first. I know some people say pay yourself first, but honey, realistically, pay them bills first, because I want to make sure that I have a roof over my head. I want to make sure that, I have food to eat. I do like electricity and hot and cold water and AC and heat. Okay. So I pay my bills first. And then that lets me know what I have left. And then I take what I have left and I will spread that amongst savings, buying myself something. Because another rule I do have is I'm going to buy me something. I do not work just to pay bills. I am going to go and buy me something. I am going to go do something, whether it's take myself out to eat, go buy a shirt, go to Cold Stone and get me some little ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to do something for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I am not working just to pay bills. I'm not. Right? So, pay the bills. It lets me know what I have left. I divide that off to, savings or if I'm trying to do anything, my regular savings. And then also if I'm trying to save to get like a new set of tires, if I'm trying to save to go on a trip, if I'm trying to save to buy something that I really want, if my daughter's birthday is coming up or my birthday or something, you know what I'm saying? So, I utilize that money wisely, right? And I try not to spend to the zero, okay? It's always good to have some cash, right? Side note, while we're talking about cash. Now, it is important for you to also have some cash on hand, right? At least have a 20 in your wallet, just in case you need to get an Uber. Well, I guess you have to pay that electric. Well, you get what I'm saying. At least have an extra 20 in your account as well as on your person, right? Also, make sure that you have you some money stashed away somewhere to where you can get it, right? Whether it's at your house, your mama house, somewhere. Because what happens if the grid goes down? Real talk. If the grid goes down and we cannot go to the ATM and access our money, what are we going to do? You know what I'm saying? Because if the grid go down, we're going to have to barter. We're going to have to buy people, and you need to have some cash. You know what I'm saying? So put your little money up somewhere, stash it away back in the backyard somewhere. But make sure you have a couple of $100 put up somewhere so that you can have access to that in case of an emergency. Okay. All right. So we got our budget. We're sitting down. We're looking at our finances. We're writing out our budget, right? Next, we want to look at, so now we know what we got coming in. We know how much is going out. All right. Now, sometimes you have to, use credit cards. Now, let's just talk about credit cards, because credit cards and credit. I don't, I guess I'm not understanding, because to me, I look at credit as money, and I don't see that in here anywhere when it comes to just these recommendations with the financial wellness. But baby, I'm going to add it in, okay? All right. So when we talk about credit cards, understand how important credit is. Look around at the world today. The dollar is losing its value. We have went from coins and paper dollars to well, wait a minute, let me go back a little bit. We have went from food stamps, paper food stamps, okay, to the debit card food stamps, to the debit cards, has replaced cash. Debit cards has replaced checks. Online bill pay and banking has replaced checks. And so when we think about credit cards is a form of money, right? The problem is number one, credit card companies solicit to young people, especially around that age of 18, 19. They may not be as savvy with money, and then they end up catching debt early. Now, them student loans is enough, okay? But they end up catching debt early because they get this, ooh, you mean to tell me I have access to $500? And then they go off and they shop, and now they owe 500 and don't have 500 to repay to the credit card. So we want to be mindful of the connection between our credit, right? The FICO score, your credit score, and your credit cards, because they are both financial means, right? Now, we know that the higher your credit, the higher balance you can get on your credit card. The lower your credit score is, the lower you will be able to get on your credit cards, right? So if you may have a low credit score of 600, right? So therefore your credit limit on your card is going to be based on your assets, right? So you might get a $500 credit. I don't know, do they give credit cards with anything less than $500? I'm not too sure. But $500 is a start, right? But here's the thing. We need to understand, that's why it's so important for us to do the budget sheet, right? And to do the budget so we can understand how much am I bringing in, how much is going out. Because credit cards should only be used for two things. Number one, it should only be used for emergency purposes. For three. First, emergency purposes. You can definitely have a credit card for emergency purposes, and this is when you don't have any money and you need to eat. You need to keep the lights on, emergency, right? You need an Uber because your car is broke down and you need to get your car fixed, but for emergency purposes only, right? The second reason is you can pay all your bills in order to build your credit score. You can, instead of using your debit card, you can utilize your credit card, but you want to utilize it and be responsible, right? Because you can utilize your credit card and pay all of your bills, pay everything with your credit card, and then turn around and pay that credit card off with your actual money in the bank, right? My philosophy is, if I can pay for it, pay for it. And only time I use my credit cards is if it's because I'm trying to help my daughter build her credit, right? So I have her on as a secondary person on my credit card. Therefore, I am helping to build her credit because I am being responsible with my credit card. Right now, she does not have a copy of my credit card, but my child has good, good credit because I have helped her to build that by way of teaching her about how to be financially responsible, but also because I'm financially responsible, she benefits because she is a secondary on the card. Now, the third reason is, that was my third, is to help build your children's credit, right? So we have emergency purposes, to build your own credit, right? By utilizing it to pay all of your bills and all of that, but you have the money in the bank to pay that card right back off, right? And get it back down to zero balance. Also, and with that, like you want to give, maybe pay half, wait a week or something like that, pay the other half. Right? So, and then the third one is to help build your child's credit, right? And so credit cards also, wait a minute, it's a fourth. It's a fourth. Hold up. You can also benefit from credit cards by getting the perks, right? Like frequent flyer miles. You can get the perks that comes with utilizing your credit card as well, right? So that's 4. Emergency purposes, to build your credit score, to build your child's credit score, and to get perks, right? Like that's what I want. I want to be able to get the frequent flyer miles. So that is what I am working to set up, right? So credit cards, you have to be really careful with them because number one, right now we all know the interest rate is high. And so therefore it's important. Don't lose your mind because they are telling you can have a $5,000 limit and then your APR, which is your interest rate, is like 27. That is high. You will be paying for that card 3 times over. So be mindful of that because if you use that card and you end up not being able to pay it and you're late on your payments, that interest is going to knock you to your feet. Okay? And you will always be broke. So we want to be responsible with credit cards. And these are cards with cash value. Now, you also have credit cards like Home Depot, Macy's, clothing credit cards and things like that. No, I don't want a clothing credit card. If I can't buy it, I don't want it. Like, that's just what it is. I don't want a clothing credit card because they are so easy to mismanage. And the interest rates are super high on retail credit cards. I don't want Target. Definitely don't want Target, honey, because I lose my mind, and possibly Walmart as well. So no, I just prefer to go ahead and pay for things. Now, if you are a homeowner, it is important for you to be able to have a credit card because if anything breaks down, like you want to maybe get you a Home Depot card if you are a homeowner. That way, if your if your hot water heater go out, you can go get another one. Or if your AC goes out, you can go get a portable AC until you can get your AC fixed. So having a Home Depot card is always great. I did find that Home Depot interest rate was cheaper than Lowe's. So having that credit card has really been helpful. I remember my hot water heater bust and water was everywhere, and I was able to go to Home Depot and get another one, right? And then I paid it off on time Because, honey, y'all ain't getting that interest from me. And, they'll have these 24-month no interest. You know what I'm saying? When you first sign up. So you want to make sure, don't get any credit cards if you're not financially responsible. Learn how to be financially responsible first. Because credit is tier 2. Cash is tier 1. Okay? So ace tier 1 and then you move to tier 2. Okay? So credit cards, make sure you understand how they work, when to get them, how to properly use them, how to properly pay them off as well. Right? Because there are certain dates that can benefit you better than just paying it whenever. All right. Next, checking and savings accounts. Now, we definitely want to make sure that we have our checking account, which most of us do, right? Those who may not have good credit and you can't get a checking account, there are other accounts out there that you can get, but please trust and believe they are going to charge you for it and it can get a little high. So definitely work on your credit. There's so many, you got agencies, organizations out there that are helping people to consolidate, talk with the IRS. If you owe the IRS, like it's help out there. Trust and believe. Okay. Now, savings and checkings account, pretty easy, right? You want to make sure that you're not overdrafting, right? You can connect your your checking to your savings. That way, if you overdraft, then they will go into your savings to get the money that you've overdraft from. Okay. But don't make it a habit of overdrafting and then bank is trying to pay for something. Now you owe the bank and all that type of stuff if you don't have it connected to a secondary account. Okay. So stay in good standing with your checking and your savings accounts. All right. Because the bank looks at that. And then if you ever want to go to the bank and get a loan, they're going to look at your bank history. So keep that in mind. All right. Next, we're talking about investments. So investments, we're talking about stocks, right? We're talking about real estate. We're talking about gold. We're talking about, what else? Investments. Yeah, I think I named the main ones, right? Is real estate, stocks, bonds. We're talking about IRAs, 401ks. This is investments and retirement funds, right? And so we want to definitely make sure that we are paying into our retirement funds and start educating yourself about investments. If you have no clue about investments, start looking into stocks. Okay? Because you can buy penny stocks. You can buy stocks that pay dividends every month. It might be a couple of dollars, but that adds up over your lifespan. Stocks that will pay you well. Stocks go on sale where they drop. And what I mean by sale, they'll drop the price for a period of time so that people can buy up the stock and then they will lock it in and go right back up. And then you have made a, what's the word I'm looking for? Your stock has now increased in value, right? And so, so definitely look into investments, real estate, right? If you have a parent, they leave, if your parents have passed, they had a home and they left that home to you, that can be your investment, right? And you can, put some renters in that home, fix it up, put some rent, take the equity out of the house, fix it up, and then get you some renters. That can be your first rental property. If you have a home and you decide that you want to move, you can turn your current home into a rental property and then move. So just think about the investments. Do you have any money put up? Then you can go buy you some gold, put that up. You can get you some IRAs IRAs. You can buy you some bonds, get you some stock. And also, if you're on the job and you're working to retire, make sure that your job is matching. Hopefully your job is matching your deposits, right? When it comes to your retirement funds, try your best not to loan against your retirement, your 401k, right? And I know sometimes hard times come and you may have to go into your 401k, but please just make sure it's worth going into it, because you're literally pulling out of your retirement fund. All right. So make sure that you have a good retirement funds. Now, for entrepreneurs, make sure that you are working on your own retirement, whether it is a entrepreneur, I forgot what they call it, but you can definitely get you an IRA, but it's a specific IRA, if I'm not mistaken, for entrepreneurs that you can get and start paying into it as an entrepreneur. So instead of having a job and they take it out your check, you can pay into the IRA as an entrepreneur, right? So just make sure that you are thinking about your retirement plan as an entrepreneur, because nobody is taken out of our when we pay ourselves, so we have to do it ourselves. So you guys make sure that you really think about this. If you have credit cards and you know that you got too many, you need to close some of those accounts, right? If you have too many credit cards, you need to try your best to get them down to zero. Get rid of the high interest credit cards, and then keep, your lower interest credit cards, and then you use those wisely. You can use those to pay your bills, and then you turn right back around and pay your balance off. But just make sure that you're being responsible when it comes to that credit. I'm telling y'all, that credit for real. So understand how to manage a budget, credit cards, checking and savings accounts, investments, retirement funds. I do want to say, like with Wells Fargo do have, they have, so sometimes I don't really like talking about Wells, because they look ethics when it comes to, the housing, all the stuff that they've been in the news for. I'm not happy with that. In real talk, I'm really looking to move my stuff away from Wells Fargo. I've been with Wells Fargo for 25 plus years, back when it was First Union. Then it was Wachovia. Now it's Wells Fargo. And I still have the same checking account I had, y'all, from back in the day when I was 16. My mama got it for me. And but I'm getting ready to close it. So I'm moving on from Wells Fargo, okay? But they do have a checking account where when you pay your bills so it's called Way to Save, right? So when you pay your bills out of your checking account, for every dollar you spend, they put $1 away. No, that's not how it goes. Wait a minute. For every, it might be an amount, they put $1 away. No, it's for every transaction. If I'm not mistaken, for every transaction, they'll put $1 away, right? So you have this little savings account at the end of the month for every transaction. So if you did 30 transactions, that's $30. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's how it goes. But it comes in handy. You can use that as your own personal petty cash, right? And you can do what you want to do with it, or you can let it add up and then put it in your savings. You can let it add up and use that to pay your credit card payment. So I think that's a good little account that they do have. I think all banks should have that, in credit unions. But, so make sure that you guys really break this down for yourself, right? Make sure that you have your budget. Make sure you budget regularly. Do an assessment with your credit cards. Make sure. Oh, they also have checking and savings accounts that earns rewards, like, just a couple of cents or some every month or something like that. And that little money add up as well. So make sure you get your checking and your savings accounts that works for you, because you can also get savings accounts that creates interest. It'll be a couple of coins, couple of dollars, and that adds to your balance. Okay. Look into some investments as well. That could be also investments in a business or somebody business that as long as you trust them and they're doing really good in their business. And then your retirement funds. Make sure that you are really sitting and thinking about retirement. Some live for now, some live for later, and some live for both, right? So make sure that you consider that retirement fund. Your third goal is handling finances without too much stress. So if you go through step goal 1 and 2, it'll remove a lot of stress. If you just take what I've talked about thus far in goal 1 and 2, it will remove a lot of stress, because when you have those high interest credit cards, when you are not making enough money, when you are, messing up your credit, all of that is stress, right? Like, all of that is stress. When you can't pay your bills, when your ends are not meeting, when you're living above your means, right? So that means that your out is more than your in coming, right? So you're always in debt. That is not the way that you want to live. You know what I'm saying? So make sure handling finances without too much stress. Stay on top of your finances, budget, know what you have. One of the things my mom taught me was to use that little paper ledger. The paper ledger, do y'all remember that with the checks? It came with the checks, and every time you spent money, you wrote down in your ledger how much you spent. So that way, you know how much money you have just by going in your purse and pulling out that ledger. Remember that? I used ledgers all the way up until COVID. Yes. Yes, I did. Because when you have your debit card, you're swiping, but you have to go log into the app to remind yourself how much money you have. But if you keep the ledger, you can easily go in your purse, open that ledger up, and you know how much money you have there. You know what I'm saying? So think about that. I don't have the ledger now because, COVID hit the banks. You couldn't go inside the banks. I couldn't get them. And so now I haven't been using them, but guess what? I found one. I was going through some papers and I found a brand spanking new one. Okay. And so I am definitely going to utilize that so I can keep up with, my funds and all my account, all the things that I got. You know what I'm saying? So, make sure you stay on top of your finances. If you just do the steps, think about what I've said thus far, and we're just on goal 3. It will reduce your stress by half, if not more than half. Real talk. I remember when I got my first credit card, which was Macy's, when I was 19. And I charged, Lord, I'm 50. Y'all already know, ain't no shame here, right? But I remember when Guess jeans was out. And I went and bought me, I think that's what I bought, some Guess. I think I bought some Guess jeans. Anywho, I defaulted on a little credit card, child. It ended up hitting my credit, and it got on my credit. And, I was young. I'm like, honey, whatever. It was $92. It was $92. But let me tell you how credit works, though. Now, this is when I was around 19. It was $92, and that was on my credit for 7 years. 7, right? So when I bought my house at 26, right? I had a car. I had my Jeep. And a couple of years later, my Jeep went out. And not a couple, several. Well, no. Okay, my Jeep went out. So I went and tried to get a new car. Now, mind you, I already have a house. I had by this time I was on my third or fourth car. I had already leased a car, right? Just to let you know about that, that credit, was good. My credit, was good to be able to lease. My Jeep was paid off. I had another car prior to those, and then uh, um, what you call it? I turned it in, and then I got my Jeep. And I have a whole house and been in the house for a couple of years, right? At this time when I was trying to get another car. So I go in, and you know how they'll give you the car for a couple of days. Oh, honey, I thought I was the ish. Do you understand? It was it was like a gold Jetta. It was a pretty gold. It was like, I can't even put it into words, but it was a beautiful color Jetta. It had banana seats. It was like a soft yellow banana leather seats. Okay? Baby, I thought I had hit the gold mine. All right? You couldn't tell me nothing. So I'm riding around in the car. You know how they'll let you get the car for about a couple of days, and they'll finalize everything. So they call me in. I go in, and I'm like, okay, where do I sign? And they said, well, unfortunately, we wasn't able to secure the loan. And I was like, excuse me? And literally, y'all, I know my credit score had to be in the sevens. Real talk. And I had, like I said, credit score had to be in the sevens. Definitely mid sevens. I had already purchased a home, been in it for some years, paid off a whole car in I've had other cars, great standing, great credit score, no defaults on anything. And do you know that they told me that they could not get the loan because of that Macy's was sitting on my credit? And I want to say, I was saying to myself, wait a minute, Macy's, it's been over 7 years. So why is that little thing still on my credit? So had to go through the process of getting that removed because it was over the 7 years. And so it eventually was removed, right? Sometimes you have to, please pull your credit. Let me say that. Please, side note, you can get a free credit report once a year. Okay? Order your credit report so you can see what is on your credit. You might have something on there, some fraud. There may be something on there that does not supposed to be on there, and it can mess up your opportunities for other credit. Pull your credit once a year. Nowadays, twice, because data is so important. And with all these breaches, you need to pull it twice, every 6 months, actually. And sign up for the little Experian and TransUnion and Equifax. Put the lock on your credit, as well as sign up for the, what they call it. I can't even think of the name, but credit monitoring. Because nowadays they've put a price tag on data. That's why every time we turn around, there's a data breach because they're selling our data, right? So you got to protect your credit. So, y'all, I couldn't get the car because the little stinking Macy's $92. Now, this whole situation did not make sense to me, but again, just to show you, credit is important, okay? And another side note, if you are a parent, please do not use your children's credit. Don't put nothing in their name. You should be responsible enough to not have to do that. Okay? And if you have not been responsible, then get responsible and clean up your credit. Start working on cleaning things up. It don't have to always be this way. You understand what I'm saying? But I have seen horror stories where parents have put apartments, phones, all these things in their kid's name. And then when the child becomes a young adult and they're ready to move out and get their own place, they can't get it because you have messed up their credit, sometimes for life. So don't do that to your kids. Like, please don't do that to your kids. I just think it's very disrespectful to your children. So please don't put things in your children's name. Don't. We have to be responsible enough as parents to do what we need, you know what I'm saying, to do. But don't mess up your children's credit before they even have an opportunity to start building it on their own. Like, just don't do that. Anywho, so handling finances without too much stress, right? So do the things that need to be done so that you are not stressed out every time you get paid. All right? Our fourth goal is setting and making progress toward your short and long-term goals. So as we talk about cleaning up credit, if yours is not the best, that's a goal, right? Short term, let's take a look at our credit. Let's work to get things cleared off of it. Let's work to get things lower interest rate on cards. Get rid of the high interest rate cards. Short term, do the budget. You know what I'm saying? Long term, that's when we're talking about investments. That's when we're talking about retirement. We're talking about savings, long-term financial goals. Think about what you want to do. If you want to buy a house, you got to have your down payment, 5 to 20%. So think about your short and long-term financial goals, right? Set financial goals. Because when you out here with no financial goals, you just out here spending and paying. But when you have goals, you're spending, you're paying, you're saving, you're setting up things for your children, like And while we're talking about financial wellness, I think life insurance should be in here as well, right? Because life insurance can become a form of money, right? It is, because people been doing it for a long time and some of us is just now finding out. Because with whole life policies, you can it's kind of like you can get a loan from your whole life policies over time. People been building businesses off of life insurance for ever. Okay. So definitely make sure that you educate yourself about term and whole life policies today. Because most of us sitting around here with these term policies and they are going to term out 30 years and it's done. They don't give you any money back. You don't have any money put up. Once it terms, you've paid on it for 30 years. You lived, thank God. And now all that money is gone. And you just made the insurance company pocket fat. So educate yourselves about whole life, because whole life is more expensive, but it does not expire. Okay? So you will have it your whole life and it will pay out at the end of your life to your children. You know what I'm saying? So get it early. Don't wait until you turn 50 to try to get it. Get your whole life policy. The younger, the better, and pay on it. I did watch this lady on it was a YouTube video, and she said that her and her kids went in together and bought $1 million policy, and they all put in to pay the monthly fee. And she said once she passed, right, when she passed, her children will have $1 million. I think that's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's generational wealth right there. You know what I'm saying? She's leaving a lot of money for her babies. So I think that that's fantastic. So don't just think about, let me just get enough um let me just get enough to so I can be buried. Think about trying to leave your kids some money. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little tough because real talk, when I first got life insurance, I got a term because I just wasn't educated about it. I got it at a time where I was afraid. I was literally sitting in the office crying because I had just found a lump under my arm. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have health insurance because I was an entrepreneur. I had to run around town. Nobody would see me, not even the clinics in the I hear in stinking Douglas. Well, let me not be that way. Even the clinic in Douglas, for some, it was just crazy back then, and I ended up having to go to a clinic in Atlanta that would see Latinos, and they based it off of your income, or it was free. You know what I'm saying? And I thank God for them because they didn't charge me, but as soon as I got me a little piece of money, I sent them $100 because I was thankful. You know what I'm saying? So at the time that I got the term, the lady did not educate me at the time. She just put the policy together. And now I just recently had to get a whole life policy. And whole life is expensive. Now, I ain't gonna lie, because I definitely want to, once my term turns, I'm hoping I still be alive. Because when I got it, I did get enough for my daughter, but that whole life, child, it is expensive. You know what I'm saying? So it's an investment. So, I just wanted to make sure I left my child something. You know what I'm saying? May not be a whole lot, but it's something. You know what I'm saying? That'll help. So think about that when you're buying your insurance, right? Don't just think about enough to bury you, but think about, do you have a house that needs to be paid off? And if so, is it enough money to pay your house off so your child can take that house and sell it and pay off the mortgage and walk away with the extra? You know what I'm saying? So let's think about how our kids can benefit as well. Okay. Our fourth goal is, I'm sorry, that was our fourth goal: setting and making progress toward your short and long term goals. So make sure that you have short and long term financial goals, so you're constantly working on something and you're just not out here aimlessly with your aimless with your money. Our fifth goal is not spending too much time and effort handling your finances. Now, what they mean by this is that you do have some people with a scarcity fear, right? They may have been raised in poverty and they are afraid of going back there. So they may penny pinch and hold on to their money, or they may spend a lot of time counting their coins over and over and over so that they can make sure that they have it, right? Have you ever heard how the rich, like the dirty rich, I mean the filthy, the billionaires, right? The top millionaires, not 1 million, I mean like 70 million, 700 million. Some of them become so afraid of losing their money to where they are constantly spending their life making sure that they never lose their money, right? So they don't spend it, they don't enjoy it, they just holding on to it because it gives them a sense of safety. It's like a safety blanket, right? So, when you've come from poverty, you don't want to go back. You don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go there. I know when I was raising my daughter, it was tight. Like, it was tight. I'm living off student loans. I was in college. I was trying to work in the salon on the weekends. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, honey. It was tight. I ain't gonna even tell no tale. And I had to get a pack of chicken from my best friend one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was tight, but God made a way. He always provided. You know what I'm saying? And I just thank God for deliverance. And so, but I had to work to change my life so that I could get out of that situation. You know what I'm saying? But I was there because I was in college and just trying to switch my careers. Um, and so I just thank God for providing and walking that journey with me, because he always provides. He's never ever left me without. And so I'm very thankful for that, because without him I won't have anything. You know what I'm saying? And so you want to make sure that you are staying abreast of your money, but you don't want to spend your life constantly counting it. You want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. You want to enjoy your friends, your families, your hobbies. You want to be able to go and see some things, do some things. And so don't allow money to consume you, right? So let's have balance in this area when we talk about money. Let's have responsible balance, okay? And our last goal is know the resources available to you on campus if you're a student, to help if you are experiencing a financial issue. So you have you have financial aid office, you have student loans, you have grants, you have fellowships, you have student jobs. I forgot what they call them. So there are some financial opportunities for you while you're in college. And then you got jobs, a part-time job, babysitting job. You know what I'm saying? So you have that so that you can secure food, because there are college students who do not have a food plan, right? And they go hungry because all they may have is their financial aid, and that just may pay for college, but it's not paying for anything else if their parents are not able to assist. So the last goal: know the resources available to you on campus to help if you are experiencing a financial issue such as food insecurity, homelessness, economic crisis, or financial management. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We all fall on hard times. Don't have so much ego and I can't even think of the word, but don't let your ego stop you from getting help, right? We all need help sometimes. And there are programs out there, not just for college students, but for us as grown adults too, right? You have the food pantries. If it gets tight, go to that food pantry. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sometimes some of that food may be a little outdated, the cans and stuff, but shift through, because there are some food banks that give some really good food, meat, bread, milk, eggs, canned goods, snacks. Like, don't be afraid to utilize the resources that are out here, because just imagine if they was not here. Think about it. It's summertime, and a lot of the schools, they have the summertime food plan where they allow kids to come in and eat during the summer, because some kids, their only meal is what they get at school, right? So they have the summer lunch programs. You know what I'm saying? So never be afraid to utilize your local food bank, your local nonprofits who can help you with bill assistance. You have 211 that I think that's St. Vincent de Paul, is it? Anyway, but you have 211, which is a resource line that can connect you with nonprofits who can help maybe pay rent, one of your bills in the home, provide clothing, and the food bank. So never be, too snooty to where you can't ask for help. Help is out there. It may not come in the form the way you want it, but help is out there. You know what I'm saying? So let's be mindful of utilizing our resources. You know what I'm saying? And so y'all, that's it. So think about, this is a good one. Financial wellness, right? Financial wellness. So we want to make sure that we are being good stewards of the blessings that God is giving us, right? I mean, I believe in God, but some people believe in the universe. So let's make sure that we are utilizing our blessings, right? Because everybody don't always have the opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to live without having issues related to bills or food or clothing or shelter. You know what I'm saying? And so be a good steward of your money, because it's a blessing. It's a gift, and you work hard for it. And so you work hard for the money. You know what I'm saying? Let the money work hard for you. So be a good steward of your money and it will multiply. You know what I'm saying? Literally, it will multiply if you're good with your money. Because if you're bad with your money, you just throwing money, eating out all the time, just throwing money. Take 30 days and cook, right? Take 30 days, go to the grocery store, buy you some groceries and cook, and look and see how much money you save. You will be amazed. See, we get the swiping and we're not really adding up. You know what I'm saying? We just swipe it. Candy bar here, Starbucks here. You know what I'm saying? Lunch, Dunkin' Donuts. So dinner out with the friends. It's so easy to spend $100. Sometimes I just stay at home on the weekends because I know when I walk out the door, child, $100 be gone. Okay? Because by the time you go out to eat, get a little gas, if you want to buy you a little shirt or something, like $100 is gone. So just make sure that you are a good steward of your money. So I hope you guys take out some time to really sit with yourself and assess, where are you when it comes to your finances? So let me review these goals for financial wellness before I end this episode. Number 1, learning how to gain control of your finances so they work for you, not against you, but for you. Number 2, understand how to manage a budget, credit cards, checking and savings accounts, investments, retirement funds, etc. Number 3, handling finances without too much stress, because finances will end a marriage. Okay? So be mindful. Setting and making progress toward your short and long-term financial goals. Not spending too much time and effort handling your finances. Don't become obsessed. All right? Know the resources available to you on campus as well as in your community in order to help if you are experiencing a financial issue, such as a food banks, food insecurity, homelessness, economic crisis, or financial management. Most places will take a payment plan. All you got to do is ask. If you owe somebody money, ask them will you take a payment plan instead of ignoring them and not paying them? Sometimes all you just got to do is just ask, acknowledge it. But when you don't say anything and you ignoring phone calls and all of that, you're just messing yourself up because you won't be able to get a loan again. You know what I'm saying? So closed mouths don't get fed. Ask, call. Hey, are y'all, can I work out a payment arrangement with you all? Most bills, most Georgia Power and all of them, they have it, right? So don't be afraid to ask, because you'll be amazed at what you may find. All right. All right, you guys, I am going to go ahead and end this episode. I hope that this was helpful. I hope that this series is helpful for you, because I really love the 8 dimensions of wellness. And I love it because it's a great check in order for you to stay ahead of your mental health and your quality of life. Right? Because if you utilize the 8 dimensions of wellness, maybe every 6 months or at least once a year, and you check in with each one of these areas, it will help you to see where you need to spend your time that year and where you're doing a really great job. You know what I'm saying? So keep that in mind. Utilize these 8 dimensions of wellness in order to see, where are you well? Right? Are you well when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your spiritual beliefs, when it comes to your intellectual or your environmental? Right? All of these domains make up our life, right? Our finances, our emotional and mental health, our relationships under social, our intellectual when it comes to work and job and all of those types of things, our environmental, our environment, where we live, where we work, the people around us, the culture around us, our spiritual wellness, where are we with our belief system, our religious or spiritual beliefs, our relationship with God, vocational wellness, where are we when it comes to our career satisfaction, and our financial wellness. Are we being good stewards of our blessings? All right. So I hope that you guys I hope that this series has helped. Please come back to it. Please share it with someone. If you know someone who is struggling in any one of these domains, send them a link to the podcast episode, so that they can get this knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And so this concludes our series on the 8 dimensions of wellness. And now I will be moving on. I know I said I was going to do depression next, but I'm not sure just yet what I will be covering in the next episode. So stay tuned. Okay? Stay tuned, so that you'll be in the know. All right, you guys, thank you so much for coming and listening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for the patience of my inconsistency here. I am working on a couple of things. I'm actually working on a couple of courses that I want to put out into the world. But I also want to work on being more consistent with this podcast. I might, instead of me trying to do an episode because a week, I may need to just move toward 2 episodes per month. So every 2 weeks. But I'm trying to put a lot of, just trying to get back to my, all the things I want to do career wise. That has been kind of placed on hold since going through my loss. And so, and all these changes in my life, you know what I'm saying? And so, I'm just not putting any stress on myself. Life has been stressful enough for the last couple of years. And so I just refuse to put any stress on myself. So therefore, that's why I am not holding myself to putting up a new episode every week. So I will get there. But I am going to work toward doing at least maybe an episode every 2 weeks. All right. All right, you guys. Well, you have a fantastic one, and I will see you in the next episode. Thanks. Blessings.